Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another pre-recorded lesson video. Today is the start of lesson 1 for the new 9 weeks of this new module, which is module 3. Really excited to get into this book or this play with y'all and get started and get working, right? I think this is going to be a better module than the last one. I think you all are going to relate to the topic of love a lot more than, reading about soldiers going through World War II. I think this is going to be a little bit more relatable. And I think the lessons are going to be a lot more fun. It seemed like the ones that attended the virtual class a couple days ago really liked the lesson that I had and the activity. So hopefully that we can keep it going and this will be more fun. A couple announcements. Remember, the first assignment is already up. It is the love discussion, so make sure you do that for a grade. And also, you can still come up to the school anytime to go pick up the book. I've realized something is I'm not really going to expect y'all to really read the book this time around. I think the whole Shakespearean English and the language that this book uses is really complicated. So I have a lot of different resources that we can use so that y'all can get used to the text a little bit more. And you'll find that all on the course homepage as well. Okay, so let us get started with lesson 1. Okay, since this is lesson 1, what we're going to do is I'm just going to introduce the text a little bit, the play a little bit, and see what we notice and wonder about it, and then go from there. I'm going to introduce the characters as well. So a little background on what we did last week. We talked about William Shakespeare, or I like to call him Bill Shakespeare. He was born in April 1564. He died on April 23rd, 1616. He was 52 years old. He was married and had 3 kids. Some of his most famous works, y'all have probably heard of it, is Romeo and Juliet, Macbeth, and Hamlet. Y'all are probably going to do Hamlet in high school, so you can look forward to that. And then he's widely known as the world's greatest writer in the English language and the world's greatest playwright. Okay, he is credited for inventing over 1,700 different words. Some of those words being bedroom, eyeball, swagger, I think confidence, lonely. He is known as one of the greatest writers, and we're going to be seeing why he is known as that whenever we go through this play together, okay? But the goal for today is we're going to be able to make inferences about characters in A Midsummer Night's Dream using evidence from the text. Remember, inferences is basically making predictions based on the evidence that we have gathered while we're reading, okay? So before we start, I want to go over this word universal with you all. Y'all have probably heard of the word universal. It's basically a characteristic of the world or the world's population. It's basically affecting everyone. What that basically means is a characteristic or a trait or an attribute that the entire world has. Okay, an example sentence is English is like a universal language. A lot of people in the world speak English, so we can assume that English is sort of like a universal language. And whenever you think of the word universal, I want y'all to think of this little Earth rotating. Remember, it has to do with everyone on Earth. So keep that word in mind as we go into this question is, do you think love is a universal experience? So it's basically, do you think love is an experience that everyone in the world goes through or has experienced? Okay. Do you think everyone in the world feels love? Okay. So I want you to basically just think about that question, jot down what you think, and keep that in mind as we go through this. In my opinion, I believe love is a universal experience. I think everyone feels love or has felt love, right? Whether it be from relationships, family, friends, maybe pets, anything like that, right? So next is we're going to be going over characteristics of a play because this is a play, right? Some characteristics is there are a lot of characters in it, right? Each book has its own characters, but since this play has so many characters, it's going to have a lot of dialogue. And dialogue is basically just characters talking to each other, okay? In a play or in a book that we've read in the past, some of the times it's the narrator or the main character basically talking to themselves, right? In their mind, not talking to other characters, but in this play, majority of the things that we're going to be reading are characters talking to each other, okay? It's the dialogue. Next is the setting. Remember, setting is just basically the place where it takes where the play is in. This play is taking place in Greece or Athens. Okay, And whenever you actually do watch a play in real life, the setting is usually the background, right? They usually have like decorations in the back, and that basically shows the setting as well. Remember, it's the location. Next is a genre. So a play has many different genres. This one is known as a comedy. A lot of Shakespeare's uh, past plays are known as comedies or tragedies. Tragedy is basically what you could assume Romeo and Juliet is, where both the characters, Romeo and Juliet, die at the end, right? This one is considered a comedy. And then there's also acts and scenes. Acts and scenes are basically what the structure of the play is. So a play doesn't follow normal like chapters and things like that. It has acts, and this play has 5 acts, and in each of those acts, there's multiple scenes. So you can think of acts as like the major shifts in the book, where maybe the first act is like the intro, then the second act is like the middle, and the third and the fourth are the middle, and the fifth is the ending, right? And each of those scenes are just small little shifts. So there's 5 acts, and there's multiple scenes within each act. That is how a play is broken up, and that is how a play is structured. Okay. So I sort of want to go into A Midsummer's Night's Dream. As you can see in this bottom right, it's sort of like a cartoon strip, right? That's basically what we're going to be doing as we go throughout this play, is watching summary videos and using the cartoon strip. There are times where I will be pulling out direct paragraphs from the text so that we can analyze it. But most of the time, we will be doing the short summary comic strips and things like that. And those are always going to be able to find. You will always be able to find them in the day's folder and things like that. So another way for y'all to find it is going to Schoology, right? Finding our course homepage, clicking the Module 3 study guide, and on the bottom right, it's going to be a thing called Good Tickle. And this is basically where you can find these comic strips, and it is all right here. Okay, it's each act, each scene in each act, and then this is a list of all the characters, right? That's pretty cool. This is basically what we're going to be doing majority of the time as we go on. So I'm going to introduce the characters that we're going to be seeing in Act 1, Scene 1. That's basically what we're going to be doing in the next couple lessons. So a total of 7 characters will be introduced in Act 1, Scene 1. So there's going to be Theseus, the Duke of Athens. Duke of Athens basically means he's like the head of their city. He's the head of Athens, okay? And then his fiance is Hippolyta, okay? Next is Aegeus. That is Hermia's father right here. And this is where we sort of go into a love square. So Aegeus is Hermia's father, and he wants his daughter Hermia to marry Demetrius. But Hermia is in love with Lysander, and Lysander's in love with Hermia as well. But Aegeus hates Lysander, and he likes Demetrius. However, Demetrius, Hermia does not like Demetrius at all. It's actually Helena that loves Demetrius. They used to date. Now they're ex-boyfriend, right? Ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend. And Helena is best friends with Hermia, essentially. So it's sort of like a weird love square going on. So keep that in mind, or keep the background of all these characters in mind as we go forward. But this is basically the play, and this is why I want y'all to really do today for me, is go through this play, read as much as you can. It's really easy, right? And those pictures of those characters really, what is it? They match up, so you can see who is who, okay? And after you do that, click on part 2, right? And this is basically the ending of scene 1. It's pretty easy to follow along, my opinion. You just go in, and this right here is Theseus and Hippolyta talking. So he's saying, "Now, fair Hippolyta, only 4 more days until our wedding night. Are you as impatient as I am?" Hippolyta says, "You literally defeated me in battle, took me prisoner, and forced me to agree to marry you." Then Theseus says, "What can I say? I'm a traditionalist." So go through right now, read both part 1, part 2. Shouldn't take you that long, and then come back to this video, okay? Okay, welcome back. Hopefully that didn't take you that long. I think that is going to be a lot better than us actually going to the play and reading it and trying to dissect exactly what Shakespeare is saying. So a lot happened in that scene. It basically introduced us to the conflict that the characters are facing, right? So basically what happened in that scene is Theseus and Apollo are just talking to each other, and Aegeus drags Hermia along, right? And Aegeus says, "Hey, Theseus, I'm trying to get Hermia to marry Demetrius, but Hermia's, not having it. She's wanting to marry Lysander. Can you help me force Hermia to marry Demetrius, or at least let me punish Hermia if they don't marry and put her down, like kill her, um, or have her killed, right? Remember, this is a long, long, long time ago, so it isn't that crazy that a father would want to kill the daughter for not going against for going with his wishes and marrying a guy that he wanted. Okay, so Aegeus basically wants Hermia to either marry Demetrius or die, right? And Hermia is not wanting to marry Demetrius because she's in love with Lysander, right? And Theseus basically gives Hermia the choice of either marrying Demetrius. Well, Theseus gives Hermia 4 days to decide to either marry Demetrius, die, or become a nun. And a nun is basically someone that gives their life to the church, right? They can't marry, they can't have kids. They're basically devoted to the church. Okay. And Hermia is shocked by this. She says, I don't want to die. I don't want to become a nun. And I definitely don't want to marry Demetrius. Okay. So her and Lysander, the two people that are actually in love with each other, come up with a plan to run into the woods and escape and marry there. Okay. So they're planning to escape, and here comes Helena crying to Hermia, saying, "Why doesn't Demetrius love me? Why does he love you?" And Hermia is basically saying, "Hey, it's okay. Lysander and I are going to run into the woods, so maybe whenever I'm gone, Demetrius will finally love you and pay attention to you." She says, "We're about to leave tonight. Don't tell anybody." Helena goes and tells Demetrius in hopes that Demetrius is so thankful and grateful that Helena told him this information that maybe Demetrius will like her again. So that's basically what's happening in this summary so far. Okay, is basically Hermia having to choose between marrying Demetrius, dying, or becoming a nun, and her saying, "Hey, all those options are terrible. I'm just going to run away with Lysander into the woods." Okay. So again, these are Hermia's three choices: marry Demetrius, a man she does not love; disobey her father Aegeus and be killed; or become a nun. And we all know that she doesn't decide to do any of those. She decides to become. She decides to run away with Lysander to the woods. Right. Oh, that's basically what happens in scene one. I know it's a really brief way of going about this, but I think this is a lot better than actually reading the entire scene, because the entire scene is very long. I think it's over like 180 lines, multiple pages, right? If you want to read the scene, go for it. I think it would be beneficial, but I think this is also going to be a good way of doing it as well. And I know this is right. It's just lesson one. We will be going into scene one a lot more in depth the next couple lessons. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that you all knew exactly what was happening in scene one. And if you all ever want to watch the play, it is right here. Is also on one of the buttons on the course homepage. Okay, I think it's really good. So y'all don't really have to do this. This is going to be an assignment that I'm going to upload later on. It's basically on a scratch piece of paper next to you on a piece of paper. Just try to jot down all the characters that were introduced, who likes who, like basic information on them. How are they related to each other, the setting of the play, and what the conflict is, what the problem in the play is. Okay, just try to get that done. But I'm not going to upload this assignment yet. I may do that in the next couple lessons. What is going to happen, though, is I do need y'all to read that summary comic strip again, just so you get a firm grasp on it. Try to take notes while you do it. And also watch the play. I think watching up to the scene one is a great thing. I think it lets you visualize exactly what is happening. But other than that, there's really nothing else to lesson one. It's the start of the module is always going to be really short. whenever stuff starts picking up is a couple lessons into it. But hopefully you like the way that we're going to do this play going forward. I know a lot of my students have been saying that they don't understand what Shakespeare is saying. The words are confusing, and I completely get that. I struggle with Shakespeare from time to time as well. People spend their entire lives studying Shakespeare, and they still struggle. Okay, so before you exit out of this video, remember to come up to the school to get the book, especially for Module 4 as well. Try to pick up both. Read the Act 1, Scene 1 comic strip again, watch the play, and finish up that love discussion I uploaded last week, okay? If you have any questions, remember, email me or message me on Schoology or go to the question board. I always try to answer as quick as possible. But other than that, that is it for this lesson video, and I will see you here for the next one.